Welcome to another exciting episode of the $1 Million Peddlers. I'm Paper Guy.
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
And I want to thank Stuart from Finders Flippers Resell Podcast. They've been on our show before. Do definitely check them out if you haven't already. They do have a fun little podcast. And I watched one of their episodes, and I stole a bunch of ideas to use on the show, and I told them I would steal them.
Good.
So the idea I have today, I actually stole from them. So
nice.
There we go. So, Mr. Magazine.
Yes.
What kind of difficulty are you going to have if you're a reseller who is a perfectionist? Yep.
Yeah. Well.
and let me follow that up.
I don't think you're going to be worried about many death piles.
Or you have nothing but death piles because you only list one item.
Right. Yeah.
But then the question comes in. Are you better being 90% accurate and good, 80%? How much detail is too much detail? Where do you draw the line?
I guess that's what works for you and your system. So like you're a one-man crew. I don't know if you're close to being a perfectionist just because you like to be good at what you do.
But here's where I'm not.
Yeah.
My photos suck. I know my photos are not good.
Yeah.
I'm not a visual type person. I don't work that way. So I just take quick pictures of things.
Yeah.
And now occasionally I'll take another picture. I'll go, okay, that's a really bad picture.
Right.
But I don't worry about the lighting on my pictures as much as I should.
Right.
But the other side of that is you could sit there and you could act like you're doing a movie, 17 takes, and you still don't have the right picture.
Yeah,
so
I think with ephemera it's a little different though, because one, you say you don't get many crazy buyers like I do, complaining or this or that, or can you check this or check that. So they kind of know what they're getting. You're describing, plus you got great feedback. So even if the picture looks crappy, your description is probably going to be what they're getting.
The condition. Right. Okay, let me put it this way: the condition area, if there are issues, is where not a perfectionist, but closer to a perfectionist.
Right.
I put my effort into accurately describing the condition if there are condition issues.
Right.
Now, if it's just a standard issue, normal wear, I'll just say moderate wear on it.
Yeah.
And that just means, it's got the usual wear. Now, if it's got a long tear in the spine, I'm going to note the tear in the spine. If it's got...
Yeah. So for eBay, I think that's good for you. Your rating, all that helps. So someone's not going to look at a Sports Illustrated from 1957 with a dark background and think they're getting scammed. They know what they're getting. They'll probably assume like it's a dark background. You described it right. Your feedback's high. Fine. Amazon might be the other way around, where you don't have to worry about your pictures because they're stock photos. But a lot of buyers don't read the description.
Right.
So it could be a mint condition picture of a 57 SI, but it's under very good or acceptable. And you're describing it, and they're not reading that. So I get a lot of those people. I don't know if you get a lot of those people on Amazon, but I certainly get them that don't read the bottom. And every now and then they're a little upset. Or there could be a stock photo of a signed one, or it says signed one and vice versa, and then they think they're getting a Magic Johnson autographed SI for $5, and they're really not. But for being a perfectionist, you're probably as close to, you're close to being a perfectionist just in your nature. You know what I mean? You're not going to have any, in the pictures. You've done it forever. It's working for you. They're still selling, so no issues. But if you're too picky, I think you're going to hurt yourself in a sense that you're going to have very little things to sell, especially condition-wise. If you're looking just to sell mint things, if you're that type of perfectionist, or you want to make sure the wording's correctly and the drop-downs are all perfect, and you're spending 15 minutes on one listing.
That's a good point with item specifics.
Yeah, so I could have some employee spend 15 minutes with one listing. Yeah, it's great, but it's $10. Where I'd rather have you list, 20 to 30 listings in an hour, with an average listing and a good enough picture where we can pump them out because I'm paying you so much an hour. I'm not going to make very much money if you're listing 3 Sports Illustrated an hour. So.
And I guess part of it, there's nothing wrong with striving to be a perfectionist. I think you have to pick your battles, and by that I mean, if I were running, not that you would sell this over on eBay, but if I were running a heritage type website on eBay where I just had that type of items, I'm thinking I'm going to completely and fully describe that Action Comics #1 that I have up for sale.
Well, that's what we do, really. If it's something cheap, like say we're selling a $10 Hot Wheels from the 70s loose, and I tell my employees, don't go crazy. Take a few pictures, maybe a front, back, whatever, 3 pictures. Well, there's always someone that wants 6 pictures, but it's a $10 item. We described it. It's not worth paying them to go back, pull the item, take more pictures. So, but if it was a $50 car, I would say take more pictures. So spend a little more time on the higher price items and describe it, as best you can. And then the cheaper items, just give 2 or 3 pictures and a good description.
So what would you say? Would you say being 90%, 80%? I mean, whereabouts would you fall on it? Because there's an amount you do have to put effort into.
Yeah.
Well, actually, not really, though. You can just throw stuff up. I mean,
we used to see less is more sometimes. People put crappy listings, and their items were still selling. Well, we had good listings, and they either weren't selling or they were selling theirs for as much or more than we were. So, but would you say you're 90 to 95% perfectionist?
Probably 90. Yeah, probably
so
90. Because of the pictures.
Yeah, and because I have 15 employees, I'm probably 75 to 80, maybe. I don't know if that, overall between all the platforms we use, I would say we're in that. eBay might be lower, Amazon a little higher, but and unfortunately we sell a lot of toys, and there could be parts missing or this or that, broken or something. We don't know the background on some of the stuff, and no matter how much you do, sometimes it's not enough. They still want to ask you some other questions. So we do the best we can, but you can't be anal in every single toy. Let's put the batteries in. We sell things untested because it takes so much longer to. Let's get the batteries. Let's test the product.
Right now, if it were potentially $1,000 item, and you had the batteries handy,
yeah, then I absolutely would. Or I would just say like we had a Commodore 64 system or something.
Power it up.
Yeah. Just say it powers up. We know it powers up. We don't have the monitor and this and that, but at least it powers up.
Now let me give you a quick tip.
Okay.
A lot of people, what they'll do with that is they will actually, that's where they will use the video on eBay to show it powering up.
Okay.
So that way people can see the video of it working. Same thing with if they have like wind-up toys and things like that.
Yeah.
They'll use the video to show them working and put the video up of that.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
There, see, you just got a little bit better.
Good to know.
And that's why you watch this channel.
For sure.
But yeah, when you get down to it, there's always something else you can do. And I'll give you another example where I'm nowhere near a perfectionist. Coloring books. Generally speaking, coloring books are unpaginated, which means the pages aren't numbered. If I get a coloring book that is this thick, I am not counting that there are 164 pages. I'm not doing it. The payoff is not there for it.
Right.
Now, if somehow or other it's a super rare first coloring book ever issued, a $10,000 coloring book, I'm counting the pages. If it's a $20 coloring book, I'm not counting the pages.
I guess it was 20, 25. I might fan through to see if any were torn out, like half torn out or something, because sometimes, I colored it. Here, Mommy, maybe they're torn out, but I'm not going to check every page by the spine and see if they're pulled out. 50,
and even then, you can't tell too well.
Yeah, $50, I might spend a little more time on it, but not much more. And then, how many of those are few and far between?
Right, and that's where you get down into it. You can always, no matter what item you're listing, you can always do it better. And I think you have to know when to say stop. And again, it's all off the table. You're dealing with $100,000 items on up. Obviously, It's all off the table at that point. You do whatever it takes, because you think about it. We've done the show for the last few years telling how much we make on here. If I have a $100,000 item sell, that's close to what I make top line in a year of selling stuff.
Yeah.
That's a pretty hefty sale for me. Yes, I'm going to spend a lot of extra time on it, because guess what? If it takes me a week to list it well and it sells, I wasn't going to list other stuff in that 7 days to make up for that $100,000.
Exactly.
So obviously it's all out the window if you have some incredible item like that.
Sure.
But you deal with the run-of-the-mill stuff, the normal stuff that you get into regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there was a gentleman, I'll give a perfect example. Local Mike, whom we both know, goes to our shows regularly, was telling me he had and I'm going to butcher it a little bit, comment down below, Local Mike, to set me straight on the exact story, but he had a baseball card up.
Okay.
The gentleman wanted him to tell him the centering on it, but wanted him to go with the ruler and exactly measure out so it was exact. So in other words, it was 6337 or 6139. He had this whole way to sit there and do that, and Mike said, blow up the picture and print it out.
Right.
And you can do it yourself. I'm not going to sit there and do all that.
Not wrong. I mean, I guess if it was $1,000 card or something expensive.
Yeah, it's a $50 card.
And if it's been say it's $100, been sitting around for 2 years, I might do it hopefully to move it.
Yeah, but would you though? No,
odds are he may not buy it because then it's not 50-50 because he wants to get it graded.
Well, no, it wasn't 50-50, but I know you could look at it and tell it was 60-40, but the guy didn't want 60-40.
You want to know 63.
63-37, 62-38, something or other like that, and it's like really, it's a 60-40 centering.
He probably does it with everyone he buys cards from. Yeah.
It's 60-40. Yeah, it's roughly, but no, he wanted it right down to, and it's like, I'm not doing it on a $50 card. No,
exactly.
I don't know anybody that would do. I have never. Let's put it this way: in all the time of buying,
I've been asked a lot, but I've never been asked that.
But in all the time of buying, I've never seen 23.5, 76.5.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the grading tiers now where if it's below 60-40, it might go down a notch, where 60-40 might be saying 8. Say the card's mint, but it's 64, it might be an 8. Now if it's 37-63, it might be a 7. I don't know. So
right. Maybe there was a reason why, right?
Yeah, and I know they're getting bigger into the centering now because I mean, they were always big in the center, but now you can't get a 10 unless it's perfect, where before there was a little deviation. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, so I guess, I do want to thank the boys over there for giving us this topic. Interesting topic. Again, there's always something more you can do, but you have to know when to call it quits, when to say this is enough for the item that I have up.
Yep.
Because, again, there's always more that you can do. I'll give you another perfect example. I have people sit there and they'll ask me, is there any writing in this magazine or in this book?
Yeah.
It's a 262-page book. I tell them, when I list it, which is true, I do a quick page through. So I take a few pages. Did somebody put a straight line near the inside of page 122? Maybe.
Right.
I'm not going to go through every single page to see if there's a stray pencil mark.
Yeah, the very average items are $20. We're definitely not wasting our time on 20. 200, like again, I might put a little more effort into something that's expensive and that's been around a little longer to move it, or I would just pawn it off on my employee and have that.
You're still not looking through 260 pages to see a stray pencil mark.
We get a lot of customers, and it works in spurts with the pages missing. And they get upset sometimes. Like, we can't look through every page of every magazine we sell. We sell 100 magazines a day. If I had to pay my employees to look through each one, we would sell 20 a day, And for the odds, it's one in every, say once a month maybe. Say that's one in every 3,000 magazines, someone has on missing pages. It's not worth it.
See, what I usually do is, for most magazines, I do a quick page through. I check. Now, if my quick little page through, oh, wait, something's clipped. Because sometimes you can find it, or sometimes they've taken a page out and then the page on the other side is loose.
Yeah.
Oh, page 12 is loose. That means probably page 46 is missing. Yeah, 46 is missing. Sure. Those are good clues to have on that over there as well.
Yeah. We definitely, for the adult stuff, we definitely skim all that stuff, because my employee's looking for celebrities in there and so forth, so she'll catch them sometimes, but very rarely it happens, so.
Well, and then the things that I know are going to have the issues, whether it's Jack and Jill magazine, whether it's a teen magazine, things like that, those you expect potential problems with, or the circus or cream with the posters.
Sure.
Those wrestling, you check those things. The Nintendo Power, I think it is, those are ones that you know to check because often those things are missing. So those you just check automatically. But a random magazine that you have no reason to suspect.
Right.
Again, unless it's a real, now here's an exception, of course. If I were to all of a sudden get the first Norma Jean cover, I'm checking that for completeness. Sure. Definitely checking that for completeness, because again, that's a very, very nice magazine.
What's the title of it?
Family Circle.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you get that, that's that's the first mainstream one. She was actually in a magazine before that in an advertisement. Biact. But hopefully that helps you a little bit on there. What percentage to go on, and we will see you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.